get into it. So we're going to start out with some massage ball release work and work on that. So if you've got one of these are such a great tool to have. If you don't have one, definitely just use a tennis ball. They'll work quite well. These are a bit more aggressive, get a bit more tension in there, just going through that arch, opening that up, get a good feel. Ideally you want to work to the point where you can get your whole weight in there. So if you're joining me for the first time, these sessions are going up Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m, that's in Sydney, so that's plus 10 UTC. And I'm just trying to share the method that I use for the people stuck at home. And because my studio's closed and I can't teach group classes, I've had a lot of clients that don't have money and they've lost their jobs and in a bit of a position. So I thought, well, how can I help all those people and get this stuff out there at the same time with the current situation. So just putting everything that I do online for free in a class kind of situation. Obviously there's always more to teach and learn, so I'm just layering it in. As long as this pandemic goes on, I want to share what I do and how I get the results with clients and myself and help people get more out of this life experience. So this are just going through the perineals, opening those up, finding where they're tight. You get some pressure in there, you can do some active releases. Find where you're tight through there, pin that. It's nice. So these are a great tool to use, and it's such a joy to have that ability to provide that self-relief and get into the tissues. And I use this as a self-assessment process every day, just to figure out how hard am I going to train, and how I've been going with my training in the last couple of days. So that way I get to know my body and its responses to whatever I'm doing, how I'm eating, what I'm doing day to day in my life. So going through the glutes as well, opening those up. Find where it's tight there. Big breath in, exhale, sink down into it, let that tension come out. So yeah, if you don't have one of these massage balls, just use a tennis ball. They work very well. These are just a bit firmer. Use that breath. Each time you exhale, so if you want to get into the back, you're just getting into the lower back, just working side to side, find where it's tight, open it up, deep breath in, breathe out, sink into it, on the other side. So you work your way up the spine, find where that tension is. Such a good habit to have. Just working through, use the breath. So first 5 minutes of these sessions I go through the massage ball release work. So if you've got other stuff you can work on while I'm doing this, you can get straight into it. Second part is foam roller, 5 minutes. And then the third part is the mobility routine. All of these routines are on my Instagram with individual photos and explanations, and then also just the longer format of all of them as well are on my website, ORIGINOFENERGY.com. So if you want to learn them, get them down. So here I'm going into the suboccipitals, releasing tension there, using the breath. So it's a pretty rushed version today, but I'll just quickly do these. I could feel my forearms a little bit yesterday. Usually the pull-ups, I think, just getting through there a little bit, so I'm just ironing those out. Nothing bad, but you just want to keep them under control, especially with handstand work. Okay, let's get into our foam rolling. So here you want to do a nice routine around the thighs. So I go with the adductors, vastus medialis, rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, go in between that lateral quad and the iliotibial band and into the hamstrings. Just get 8 different lines. So number 1 is here, just rolling from that groin to the knee. And this really helps just open up, get some circulation in there, iron it out. And it's just part of, the many things that I do to keep a nice side split and good control through there. Just to improve the health of the tissues, look after it, warm it up. So going into that lateral release. And if you find a good spot, just sink into it, breathe into it, relax, use the breath. And going into that hamstring lateral, square, going to the medial hamstring, so just wrapping right around, hitting the other leg. So I like the roller for the upper thigh, I like the ball for the lower limb. The roller is just a nice tool to make it more dynamic. You can use a water bottle. I use my clean canteen, which is stainless steel, works pretty well. It's a little bit heavier, but this is quite hard because it's got the knobbly bits on it. So if you don't have a foam roller, just find something with that kind of diameter that you can roll up and down the thighs and work those. Go in that lateral quad, find a good spot, pin that, bend and straighten the leg. Coming through here, get on that hamstring full, and we're going to get into the glute. So this is a little bit of a blunter tool compared to the ball when going into the glutes, but still, I like it. It's nice and flowy. Just get a good release through there and get that tension out. So you're just trying to get that feeling where it sinks in, hit those nice tight spots, and then you use the breath to let it release. And you just want to think of the muscles like a dirty sponge. Sometimes they get full of metabolic waste, and you're just trying to flush it out, promote circulation, and allow for a release of tension, which is really nice, especially with all the stress that people are under at the moment. If you can do this for yourself each day and just release the tension out of the body, feel much better. You can also use it to self-assess to work out what type of training, how heavy the session is going to be for you. And just keep tuning your own instrument. So coming up and down and just doing some dynamic, active releases there in the mid-thoracic. Most people are pretty tight through there. Mine's quite flexible comparative to most people, but I still feel muscular tension, so it's nice to move and just open that up. Especially if you want to get a nice overhead position, you want to mobilize through there as well as getting to the lats. So we'll just finish off with those. So coming down, open that up, work from the front, side, use the breath. Sink down, let it sink through into the tissues. Find where you're tight there. Just do one more and then we'll get into the mobility routine. I'm just going to try Instagram again because I lost you. How's that video? There you go. Something's happened there. technical difficulties. Back on. Nice, it's averted. So let's get into our deep squat. Just going to turn this one on as well. Just so I can try and help a few more people. Still trying to figure out a good way to connect with Instagram at the same time. So I'm using Restream, which is quite cool, which allows me to go to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Alright, so if you're joining me on Instagram, you can switch over to YouTube and Facebook and probably get a better video quality and better audio. But let's get into this routine. We're just doing some mobility work for the squat. So coming down nice and deep. You want to get into those ankles. Now if you're stuck up here, just keep the daily process of opening it up, but don't force it. Listen to the body, work with your tissues, find where you're tight, breathe into it. Mobilize those ankles. They will improve. It just takes time. It's just a process. Get down into those adductors, drive those knees out. If you want to get a nice squat, get that nice overhead position there, you've got to work for it. And use strength to get the range of motion as well. So I do nice deep squats coming down and coming up, so that way I get strong there. The more time you hang out in that position, the better it'll get, as long as you're not aggravating those tissues. And if you're inflaming tissues, you're just going to make the process take longer. So you want to make sure that it's the right amount that your body can adjust to. So coming in to those adductors, the single leg working in there, finding where it's tight, breathing in, exhaling into it, hit the other side. There, find where that's tight, and we can go both legs. So remember, don't force these. If you're here, it's okay, just work with your body. And if you've got more range, use it. You can come down, it's great. If not, just work where your body's at, find the restrictions to work with. And I did the side split workout yesterday, so they're a little bit tender from doing those. And I did some heavy squats the day before, and then the single leg squats yesterday with this session. So it's just learning to work with your body, listen to it, open it up, use the breath. And so another part of getting a good side split is just that, obviously that we're doing eccentrics and going to that full range, but then getting that active control there as well. It just allows for the body to say, okay, I'm cool with these positions. As always with those, you've got to watch out for those cramps that can come up. So you want to release those, but keep your electrolytes sorted. And going into a pike. With these ones, if you are tight there, don't force it. Just hinge in the hip. Make sure you're doing it from the hips. If you just go straight into that, you're just stretching that lower back. So you want to make sure you've got decent range in the hips. Coming forward. Opening those up. And you can do some active work there. Hitting those. It's nice. Then we'll go to some hip mobs, just working side to side. Opening that. That's nice. And we'll come over. We're going to do a little bit of wrist work. So these are super important if you want to get good handstands and just to keep them healthy, just for training and for life in general. So just mobilizing the wrists, working side to side, using the breath. If you've got any tight spots, don't force it. And come to the other side. So that's the second one. If it's too strong, just stay there. Otherwise, if you can come back on it. Work those ankles. Open it up. Find where it's tight. And through here. Hitting that. Mobilize those. So hitting those 4 different stretches, and the strengthening exercises, so this is the 4th stretch, you want to get that strength through the hands as well as that range of motion. So doing the reps here. As you get better at it, you can put more weight into it, so you come over it more. So it's less in the knees, more in the fingers. Then the first knuckle, hitting those, getting nice and strong there. Keeping those scaps stable, shoulders stable while you're doing it. Here, getting that strength on those extensors in the forearm, pressing up, conditioning those, then going into the wrist rocks. Now, if you find you've got wrist challenges and they're quite sore because you've been training on a bit heavier, these are such a great tool. So you can do those wrist mobs. And if you don't have one of these, you could get a bike tire, the inner tube, and just use that. So just get a lot of people telling me, oh, my wrist is sore, I can't do handstands. But doing those same mobs with that on really helps flush it out if you've got a bit of inflammation in there. And then when you take it off, because you're squeezing it out, you'll find that it flushes in and it really helps a lot. I mean, obviously if they've got a significant condition there, it's not magic, but I've found a lot of times when I've got a little bit of inflammation in my wrist, that really helps. They work great on the ankles, work great on the elbows and the knees as well. So let's get into some spinal work. So you're going to flex and extend. Exhale, squeeze that air out. Inhale, suck that air in. I'm going to mob the hips. So we'll come into the front of the hip. I love this stretch, just getting into my adductor. Then I go into the hip flexor, traction that out, and then that lateral one, so opening that up. Knees feel super good. Just to open up through there and trace that edge from the inside to the outside. On the other side. Open that up. Deep breath in. Use the breath. And then come to the outside. Traction that out. Really want to use that to open up. That's nice. Then because you've done the hips first, then when you go into the spinal mobs here or into extension, you lengthen and your hip flexors aren't going to be grabbing as much, so you can come up there. If you're more flexible, then you can come up higher. You just don't want to rush this process. So you're just jamming your back into extension without the lengthening of the spine, the traction. It's not ideal. So working side to side, hitting all those different angles, opening it up, and then reversing that, coming back, thumbs up. Use the breath, sink down, open those lats. Work side to side. Big breath in, breathe out, open those lats. Beautiful. Okay, then we're going to come up into the hip flexor. Again, through here, open up that line. Reach over, feel that line from the lat all the way down into the knee, open up. Hit the other side. Big breath in. Exhale, sink into it, reach over. Find where you're tight. And coming up into the hamstrings. So you're starting here. So your goal with this is obviously to get nice range of motion in the hamstrings. So if you're kind of like this, it's not ideal. So you want to get there, and then just doing these through the day are just great. So you may be just kind of up here, and that's the only way you can maintain that curve. And just keep working that. Otherwise, when it opens up more, so if you activate the quads and lift those hip flexors, it pulls you down into it a bit better. Just working those side to side. Once you can hit a nice angle through here, so through the hip, then when you round out, you're not just going to over flex the lower back, the lumbar spine. Tractioning there, pulling yourself in. Just relax into that. Now remember, if your lower back is an issue, just go easy, just stay here. Just work those hamstrings, work on that hip back disassociation. And you'll go a long way getting that first. And then as the back settles and it regenerates, then you can start to ease into more range of motion through the spine. But there's never any reason to aggravate tissues trying to find relief. If they're sore and they're tender, just back off and just work with your body. You always want to nurture your body into change. Because people push it and it just always comes back. I used to be able to do that and get away with it a lot more when I was younger, but now it's a lot tougher to force my body to change. It just bites back. So we're going to get into the normal warm-up. So this is a quick 4-minute warm-up. Active shoulders, coming up and down. We're a little bit behind today because I had a bit of an issue with the camera. But we'll get into it now. Coming up, coming down. Getting some of those. Active through there. Those 45-degree angles. Flies. Protract, retract. Then we're going to go into internal and external rotation. Find where they're tight. Try and move a nice line, get that activation there. Coming down. And then if you've got an extra towel, you can use these for the dislocates. Otherwise you can just go through this without holding onto something. But this is just nice to control it. So you want to feel those shoulder blades move through full range of motion. So you're trying to protract forward, elevate, retract, and come down and get that nice circle going. Getting those, then we can go into some prone version, so face down. Just on the ground, activating that posterior chain, lengthening through there so you can get it in extension and circle through. The other version here, you want to hold an underhand grip. You can do this with a dowel rod or a PVC is nice. This is quite hard. You're trying to keep the ribs in and then get that lift to get that improvement in your handstand line. It's pretty heavy duty. Then we'll just get a couple on the back. Coming up. Get that nice hollow body. Keep that lower back stable. Then we'll get into glute activation. So just going to do a bridge here. Drive the hips up, just get about 5, 3, 2, 1. Just trying to turn those glutes on, prep them for the session. Today's session's a little bit more flowy, it's not so aggressive, not as fatiguing as the Friday session. And remember, you can always go back and watch the replay of the live sessions on the YouTube and the Facebook Origin of Energy, so you can go into the page or the channel, hit those. So we're just going to get some glute activators hitting all the different directions, working those. The other side, just watch that knee doesn't drop in, try and get those glutes fired up, prep them for the session. And you're going to go into a deep squat, go slow to start out, and if you're a little bit funky in the knees or the hips, just keep it slow, otherwise you can speed it up. Try and get those glutes on. Go to a jump. Nice. Then we've got our towel, T-towel setup. So all you've got is a T-towel with a knot in each side and a towel threaded through. Pretty easy. So you can get most of the program that I teach in the studio with all the fancy, rings, bars, dumbbells. You get a pretty good version just with these, with the T-towel, towel and a door. So tractioning out, stretching there, then we're going to come back into a nice lat stretch and a hamstring stretch. So if you do have that anchor up there, make sure it's near the hinge side. And ideally the door closes towards you, but this still works quite well. This is closing away from me, but I've just got it over on the hinge side, so you can get that weight in there. It's anchored nicely. If you've got rings, if you've got a full setup, then even better. But I'm doing these sessions just to help anyone and everyone with minimal equipment. So that way there's no stress on it. It's all beneficial for everyone, but yeah, just adapt it to the equipment that you have. Back lever stretch, and the last one here. Just getting this forward fold. Then we're going to go into our handstand split warm up after this. So that's the last traction stretch. So that 4-minute block I do in my sessions every day in the classes. And then this one we do as well every day to develop skill and mobility and control for the handstand. So we're going to start out with a dead hang. So you're holding it quite high, sinking down in there, tractioning out. And if you've got that set up, you can have the toes down, or here I've got full body weight with the toes off. And as long as that T-towel is over on that side, that pressure's going into the hinges, there's no way that it's going to come down, unless you've got a really dodgy door. Then we're going into a plank to pike. So starting in that nice bridge position, walk it up on the tippy toes, press all the way up overhead, shove it right up. Just get as high as you can, so you're warming up those handstands. Remember, if you can only get to here or here, whatever, it doesn't matter, just work with your body. Listen to it, get that nice protraction there. Then we're going to go into our side split warm-up. Different variations on these. Nice easy one, just coming down. If you can only get to there, that's cool. Get down deeper, if you can get down deeper. I'm just going to hit 3 nice reps. If you're going to do it a bit harder, you can come down. More. Oi. And into the other side. So really trying to get that stretch and strengthening. But work with your body, work with your tissues. Listen to them, make them feel good. Challenge them, don't abuse them. If you work with them, they'll keep adapting. You've got good sleep, you've got good hydration, got good nourishment, your body will just keep adapting to the stress stimulus of the training. If that stuff's off, and you didn't sleep well, haven't eaten well, then it's probably better to go through the motions and not force it. This one's a hang stroke. So I'm tractioning right out, sinking right through, right up, right down. Really trying to get that nice length in my spine. Feel that, you can take the feet off. Make it a bit heavier. Then we're going into another plank to pike. This is a reverse in this round. So I'm walking the hands back to the feet. So in the first round, feet to hands. This one, hands to feet. Keep walking it in, press it up. Find that nice position. Press. And we're going to walk out. Just trying to hit all those different angles in the shoulder to warm it up from there to the overhead position. Now we're going to go into our hip flexor hamstring. So this warms up the front split. So coming down, tuck that butt under, breathing in. And we're going to breathe out. Come down into that hamstring. Now you can keep it nice and simple and just go forward and back with that, or you can add in some nice rotation. Coming down, getting back. Just remember to work with your hips, your back, don't force it. If you feel it's too much, just ease off, use less range of motion. Oh, a bit tender there. Coming to the other side, deep breath in. And then exhale, come down. So remember, if you're tight there, just go to here, just work that. If you feel good, you can come right down and back, coming up. Nice and smooth, trace those edges, find where it feels good. Then we're going into our hollow arch. Use the breath on these. So you're going to sink down. The closer you go to the door, the heavier it's going to be. If you've got rings and you're underneath it more, that's cool. Breathing in, open that chest up. Exhale, squeeze that air out. Deep breath in. Keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth, jaw closed, stabilize the neck. One more, inhale through the nose. Exhale, come down. Then we're going into our down dog, up dog with the nice transition. So you're going to try and hinge in the hip, pull those ribs in, breathing in, coming up, follow forward, protract. Exhale, chin in, drive it back. So 2 more of those, breathing in, breathing out, that nice and warm. We're going to walk in, and then depending on where you're at, so you may be right back here, you might have to bend the knees a bit. You're going to come right down, peel your spine off the thighs, breathing in, arching up. You're going to step out, arch down, hollow up. And then for the third one, you go wider again, hollow down, and then arch up, reaching up overhead. So that's a hollow arch round. And we're going into a handstand split round. So this one here, you've got the door set up, works pretty well. So hanging dead, you got a full hang, these are much better. But here, just coming down, and I'm going to lift that left leg up, get that nice activation. Each side, so these are 15 seconds a side. Then we go into our split handstand. So you may be just on a single leg down dog. So you're just here, driving that leg up, shrug up overhead, hitting that. Otherwise, if you've got a wall, you're working on that, you come up, place the hands down, hit that nice position. So you want to use this to really focus on getting that nice shrug, getting that control, locking the elbows, getting a nice stretch through the hips, and then softly coming down. And our last drill in the warm-up, just a single leg bend, hinging through the hip, draw that quad up, activate that glute on that top leg, hinge forward. And we're going into the other leg, big breath in, breathe out, sink down, drive that leg up. So that should get us nice and warm. Then we go into a handstand session. So we usually spend about 4 or 5 minutes doing this in the class. We're nice and warm now, done that warm up, stretched everything, got a feel for where the body's at, and then that way we can rate how hard we're going to push it in that. And I just recommend people work on the version that they're currently up to. So it may be just a single leg down dog. It may be that you're up to doing, a balance, the full balance. It may be that you're doing the wall drills. You might be doing press to handstand, but you want to work with your body. In between each handstand, just working on a nice lat stretch. I like these ones here, these are quite cool. So traction into the hang, and then I'm going to drive the chest down, keeping the ribs in to get that nice open shoulder position. So if I'm arching like that with my back, I'm just extending the spine, but I want to try and get those ribs in, really open those shoulders, get that nice line. So that's one. So just work on the version that you're up to. So I'm just going to do another wall one. These are nice and simple. Flip that left leg up. So you may be just like this, where you just still got quite a lot of weight on the wall, but it's safe. I'm falling towards the wall. I can work on opening my shoulders and getting that line. It's not a vertical line, but I'm trying to open my shoulders, pull my ribs in, get stronger with my elbows, being locked, getting a better head position, getting better shrug overhead, and then take a rest. And you might get another stretch and we'll go again. So that might be the version you're up to. Another really good lat stretch is thumbs up, just coming down, trying to get that chest down with the ribs in. So it's just like the one with the towel, or if you've got rings, just to get that nice open shoulder position, work side to side. Again, you don't want to force these positions, you want to make the body feel good. If it's, if you're rushing the process and you get little twinges in the shoulder and you inflame your joints and connective tissue, that's just not going to feel good. So you want to make sure that it's progressive and respectful to your own body. So going to come up again using the other leg. So you just want to get a nice distance there so you can have minimal pressure on the wall if you're feeling better, but it's just there to spot you. And then if you want, you just take that toe tip off, shrug up, holding that position. If that feels good, get a nice balance, and then slowly come down. Now with that, the key thing I find is just trying to get that nice position of where the weight is. If you can get it into the center of the hand, so much better. Just want to focus. Yeah, so you're if you've got it there in the center of the hand, if it's in the heels, you're going to heel of the palm, you're going to feel that you don't have control. If it's too much in here, you're going to blow out through the forearms. So just like when you stand, if I'm standing on the heels, it's hard to balance. It might feel strong and that there's alignment there, but I can't control it. If I'm too far forward, I feel my calves are overworking, and that's quite strong too. So if I want to find that nice position, it's in between, and I can adjust it forward and back. So hit another set, find a version, and try and feel your hands. So I might kick up from this way this time. And if you're doing that wall drill really well, then your kick-ups are quite easy because you've stretched out, you've got a nice position. If you still can't hit a nice position, you'll find these kick-ups harder. But if the hamstrings have good length, it's just a nice light push into a balance. And just hitting that, shrugging up, hitting that position. And I like this position to get people balanced at the beginning because you've got a lower center of gravity in that split, and then you can focus on just getting alignment and just working that nice juggling technique in the hand, because it's just getting forward and back. It's very hard to fall side to side because you've got both hands down, and it's also it's much more stable, and you're learning how to get that float feeling from the kick up. But if you just rush that second leg up all the time, I see people kind of crash into the wall, or they don't find that nice position. Whereas if you can get it in a good split position, it's a much easier position to balance, and it's also easy to come down and to make that dismount. So let's have a feel on the other leg, and we'll get into the next part. So I think I did the right one last time, so I'll go to the left. So I transfer the weight into my hands and nice and light, press it up. Find that position, hit that. If you've got that down, then you can go into your balance with your feet together, and then you can use it again for your dismount as you come down. But you want to shrug up, find that nice position, and slowly dismount. That just takes practice. But if you're using those wall drills, then it makes it so much easier because you've got a nice progressive path. If you can't do the wall drills properly and you feel a bit shaky, you can't lock the elbows, you can't get a nice shoulder position, and you're rushing into the kick-ups, your hamstrings don't have good length, and you're going to find that it's very challenging, and you're not going to get to a place where you feel comfortable. You want to feel comfortable with your training so you can progress that skill. If you're doing versions that are too hard, then it just makes the whole process take longer. But if you find that right amount where you're stimulating your body, you're getting little progressions every session, developing more skill, control, awareness, it really comes along quickly. Let's get into our nice flow routine today. So using the towel, I'm going to squat right down. I'll just give you a quick demo. So nice easy one is just like the warm up, coming up, stretch, coming down. Now to make this one harder, you can come in a little bit more, and then you're going to come up, feel that nice roll up, and then go into that sissy position till the knees touch, and then come out. So it's a little bit heavier, but today's session out of the week is a lot lighter than the other days. It's the end of the week. The next part of the block of the session is a little bit more fun. So you're getting 3 smooth reps there. And now in this down dog, up dog, you've got a couple of options. Your basic one, like the warm up, just that nice hollow forward, and you do that in reverse, coming back. Trying to feel those positions, trying to feel those hip flexors engage, feel those lats open up. Now your next version, you do the same going forward, and then you're going to arch back. So pressing back with the arch. So you lead with the bottom, trail with the eyes. Straighten out, and then lead with the eyes coming forward, arch forward. And then you're going to hollow back. So feeling that transition. Then for the legs, what we're going to do is going to come up, breathing in. So this nice lunge position is going to hit it, that hip flexor and that quad. Get that front split on the back leg. Then we're coming up, then we're going to hit that side split, loading through there. And then the last one is just going to be on the front leg for the pancake, so hitting that hamstring. So you've hit all the three things you need for a front split, side split, and a nice pike pancake. That light's blown out again. These blinds, but just above them I can't cover it, so the sun falls over it. It's a bit challenging. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so in the other leg do the same drill. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to hit those. Let's go into this. So come down, choose your version, and breathe in, hit the pull pattern. Exhale, squeeze that air out. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. And going into our down dog to up dog. So get a nice stretch here. Try and really mobilize those hamstrings. Feel that nice wave coming through. Arch back. Whichever version you're working on. So the easy one again is just a hollow. I love these because they really help you engage that serratus anterior and get good control through there. And then coming up, big breath in, hold that, hit that stretch. Coming down, hit that stretch, and a breath in each position. Coming into that nice hamstring loading, you can draw that quad up. And coming back, down, hit that nice position, open those lats up, stretch that back hip out. Coming down, like that, you can come down a bit deeper, find a nice position there. And then coming around into that nice hamstring stretch, help improve that pancake position. But those three are going to hit your main stretches that you need for your straight leg strength. So coming down again, big breath in, open that chest up, exhale, squeeze it out. Want to go a bit harder, you can lower yourself down on the towel. Make sure you keep that spine nice and active, so you're not just hinging in your back and driving it into extension, but you're active through the muscle, so it's nice active control. Let's get this guy again, so hit that nice stretch, feel that wave come through, come over into a planche position. Feel that nice activation through the serratus, scaps coming around, shrugging up overhead, ribs in. Nice simple stuff, guys. So yeah, if you're following today's session's pretty flowy, pretty simple, nice to finish the week off with. Yesterday was pretty heavy. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the heavier bent arm strength, and the Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday do more of skill, release, control. Not so heavy. This makes the week balance out a bit more. So by all means, change the order there. By all means, if you want to have a harder session, just watch the replay on YouTube and Facebook from either yesterday's workout or Wednesday's workout. Wednesday's has the row and the dips and the lunges. Nice. So if you did the order from the last round, that's cool. Just working that, I was thinking too much. Got to get in the body. Let's get one more round out. Squatting down, big breath in. Out. In. Feel that breath. Out. Traction those shoulders. extension control. Last one of these. Nice. Stretch it out, shrug overhead. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in. Yeah, so most of my workouts, pretty much all of them, follow this pull-push legs method, which I find is the most effective to get that nice whole body conditioning. That way it doesn't matter whether you're training 1 day or 6, and then the workouts are different every day, again, so that people can train every day or mix it up. So let's come in here. The only other training I do on a Sunday is I do a nice sprint session and a long slow jog. I find that's quite effective at my 7 days of training. It's pretty simple. I usually just do 5 100-meter figure 8 sprints. So it's 25 meters each length, but I do a figure 8, so I'm hitting both sides of my ankle. And then it's great because I take my son. I'm not running away off into the distance. I can hang out with him outside. It works pretty well. I think I've got some videos on that and stuff. You go back through my IGTV. And then I do a nice long, slow, steady run, which is 180 minus my age, so it's very slow, but it's just for mitochondrial health and just conditioning that zone 1 response in the body. So we're going to get into something dynamic now. Now, ideally with this session, you've got rings set up so you can do the front flip using the rings, which is pretty cool to learn a nice front flip. But this setup's quite cool too. You're just using the wall and you're going to be behind, finding a nice split back bridge position. So it doesn't matter how far you go out. It's pretty heavy to talk and do that, but you might go lower. But the key thing here is to lift, push. And that way you're going to work on that step out for the front flip. So you're there. Then we go into the push part of it, which is just a handstand kick up. So just depending on where you're at with it, it's a bit more dynamic. So rather than doing with hands already on the ground, you're just doing it from a standing position. And you may be just here, hamstrings a bit tight, so it's like that. Just trying to feel a little bit of a float. Otherwise, if you've got more length in the hamstrings, you're going to get more of that front split position. And you're trying to feel that seesaw from there and come out of it. So just hitting through 2 or 3 aside. Just do the version that's right for you. Pushing away, so I'm trying to feel that nice transfer. And transition. Then I'm going into the leg component, which is a nice kick up. So this one here, just using a chair. And this way it raises my hands up, so that way it's a bit heavier for my legs to get my hips higher to feel that transfer. So I go down into a lunge, and then I'm going to drive up and press. So my focus is to try and condition the legs, get my hips as high as I can. An explosive drive into that split. And I'm going to hit the other side, dip, drive. So just work with your body, try and feel that toe push the ground away and go up into that point. Shrug the shoulders up. So you want to avoid doing it where you're arching like that, because then you're just going collapsing into that and just letting the hips go. You want to go into a hollow and feel those hips lift. Let's go back into that first one. This one's a little bit awkward. Let's take a bit of practice, but once you learn front flips and you go into other versions, you understand why this is so important. It's that step out position when you come up. So here you can work down a bit lower. The other side. So squat down, reach. If you squat down, don't go wide, because then when you go to one leg, you'll shift to that side. So it's always better if you just Always better if your feet are together. So get a bit of a sissy squat position. Already did that side. So you want to make sure you're hitting both sides. And equally for your handstand kick up, make sure you're always learning left and right. Because if you always have one side, you've got a skew on your pelvis, and it's not good to do. You know, a lot of people train gymnastics and they have one side they're doing. You're always going to have one that's better, but it's so important to get healthy in both. So I like always getting the left and right sides balanced. So when you're coming down, try to open those shoulders up, press nice and light, press out of the ground to come up, so you're strengthening your hands. Just get a couple each side. Let's go back into our leg drives. Work with your body, guys. So coming down, big breath in. Side, big breath in. Alright, let's hit one more round. So I keep this workout structure for a month, and then I'm going to go into lights coming through again. Then I go into, every month we change it over, so we keep a full month of a version. Let the body adapt. And then we change it over. You're changing too frequently, you don't let your body get that adaptation. I find some clients though will respond better with a full 8 weeks. Or 12 weeks on a particular structure. So you just want to figure out what that is for you. And listen to that body. Last set of these. Lift those shoulders up. One more each side. Condition those wrists, condition those hands. Feel that full front split when you kick up. And don't worry how high you're going. It just matters you're hitting a nice position and it feels good. And it's something you can do consistently to improve on. If you twinge anything, it always makes the whole process take longer. Work with your body in the moment. Wipe your sack. Someone's come at 10 early. Oh, I think I'm running late. So hitting 3 each side. And we're just going to go into our hollow body work. So here, just going to do 30 seconds a side. Usually do full 6 minutes, but running a bit late today. If you want to, just take it to do it for the full duration. Make it a bit harder, but you just want to work a version that's right for you. So you may be just here. If your neck gets sore, you can just work on lower abs and just doing those slides. Otherwise, keep it in the hollow. And then you can work out here, 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 right up to there. And we're going to reverse it, get that balance in the posterior chain. So easy version might be just alternating with that cobra position. Otherwise, here, W, there, T, Y, or the full I. So let's go on this next 30. I'm just going to hit 3 sets of that. Thanks for joining me today, guys. It's awesome. All right. And remember, if you've got any questions, sing out, let me know. Yeah, and if you are on Instagram, if you shift to YouTube or Facebook, you'll get a much better quality video and audio. Let's go, because I've just got the phone on top of the camera, so it's not optimal. But I'm reaching more people, hopefully. That makes it work a bit better. So yeah, use the version that's right for you in this, and if you do have the time, just go for the 4-minute versions. Pretty nice. You want to maintain a nice smooth breath. If you start shaking too much and it's too heavy, just come down, make it easier. Make it easier, work with your body. Remember, with these we're trying to hit the tonic fibers, so this workout's not ideal because the sets are only lasting 30 seconds. So ideally I'd be hitting a minute each side to get more of a postural response. And it shouldn't be too hard because I want to hit those low level responses to stabilize my spine, my neck, my shoulders, my hips, all of those things. Getting those thumbs up, shrugging up overhead, lengthening. Change. Didn't want to use the beeps today because they're pretty loud, and today's session was pretty simple, but they are helpful for these. Get a nice position, tongue on the roof of the mouth, jaw closed for the neck. Nice. Watch out for the mat farts. Back sticks. Okay, so from here, get in a nice W, cobra, go in the eye, lengthen more, focus on that whole posterior chain turning on. Lengthen through your fingertips. If it's too hard, back off. And get those shoulders open. Help improve that handstand line. Nice, guys. Doing great. Almost there. Nice hollow body position. Get that control. Make it hard and get those shoulders nice and open. Last one. Nice position. There we go. Shrug up overhead. Lengthen through the line. Try not to overarch in the lower back. Try and get those shoulders open if you can. It's very hard. Hardest thing with handstands is that open shoulder. Being strong there and stable there. Not doing the full banana. It's beautiful, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. Back Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. in Sydney time. So it's plus 10 UTC. So wherever you are in the world, you can watch it. If it's not the right time for you, watch the replay. And that's on YouTube and Facebook, ORIGINOFENERGY.com or Origin of Energy for YouTube and Facebook. But hope you enjoyed it. See you soon. Have a good day, a good evening. Ciao.